Good afternoon and welcome to our Midday Mull for Monday the 29th of June. In the midday prayers I've been continuing following McShane reading through Matthew's Gospel, and today we're reading chapter 9, and it starts with the story of Jesus healing a paralytic who is brought by his friends, and he looks at the man and he says, "Take heart, son, your sins are forgiven." At this, some of the teachers of the law said to themselves, "This fellow's blaspheming," which is entirely true, because who can forgive sins but God alone? So from their perspective, absolutely, here's Jesus claiming to forgive sins. What right does he have to do this? So he says to them, why are you thinking this? Which is easier to say, your sins are forgiven, or take your mat and go home? And then he says to them, but so that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins. He said to the paralytic, "Get up, take your mat and go home." And the man got up and went home. And so Jesus is saying to them, note that I do have the authority to forgive sins. That's what I've come for. And that is the great need of society. That's the great need of every single human being. That's a great need of creation. Everything fell apart when sin entered the world, and only Jesus deals with that. And it's interesting, he says to them, therefore you know that I have this authority. And the very next story we have is that Jesus went from there. He saw a man named Matthew sitting at the tax collector's booth. Now, if there was anybody that needed their sins forgiven, it would be Matthew. He was a tax collector. He was associating with the Gentiles. He was an outcast of society. He was marked by greed and all those other things that were marks against his name. And Jesus says, "Follow me." And Matthew got up and followed him. Matthew, the epitome of sinful people, this tax collector, Jesus says, "Come and I will deal with it." And he did. And then we're told that while Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with his disciples. Then when the Pharisees saw this, they asked his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" And it's difficult to try and read tone into an English translation of a Greek text of what is originally an Aramaic or Hebrew saying. So it's a bit of a long shot. But one almost can feel the sneering condescension of their comment, almost saying to the disciples, "He's not such a good teacher. Look at who he's associating with. He's not got much going for him." But Jesus, on hearing this, said, "It's not the healthy that need a doctor, but the sick. Go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. For I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners." And this is the epitome of the gospel, that Jesus has come to deal with sin. And when we sing those songs, "I heard the Lord call my name," we need to remember Jesus said, "I came to call sinners." And all those hymns and songs that talk about the voice of the Lord speaking to us, it's because we're sinners. We needed that voice. We needed to hear that. And if Jesus could forgive the paralytic, that he could walk again, if Jesus could forgive Matthew, that he could become a disciple and write this gospel for us to read, if Jesus could deal with all those things, there's nothing that we do that he can't deal with. And that is the great comfort and encouragement of the faith, that Jesus has come to deal with sin. And our greatest need is our dealing with our sinfulness, and he can do that. So take courage, take hope, take joy from this, and be blessed.